Well, should we get started? Should we just get right
Yeah, get
into
right
it?
into it. Okay, yeah. Let's do it.
Because we always do
Uh,
this thing where we talk and then we're like, wait, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. We're going to do it in the show.
it's true. It's true. Okay. Uh, in three, two, one.
Welcome to Off the Cut, a podcast where we talk about building, making,
and answering all of your questions.
I'm Eric from Spenceley Design Co.
And I'm Zach from Zach Builds. If you have a question that you would like us to answer on air, you can send it to offthecutpodcast@gmail.com.
You can find both of us on YouTube, Instagram, and unfortunately, because we have to keep up with kids, you can find us on TikTok too.
All right, now let's get into the show.
Congratulations. You've just entered Off the Cut episode 97. We're up in Toronto and here in Ohio. Today is known as Tuesday, January 9th, 2024, which of course means that the Green Series podcast, the worst podcast available on Apple and Spotify, still sucks. But what doesn't suck is our ad read for KM Tools.
That's right, baby. For woodworkers, by woodworkers. That's their motto, right, Eric?
It sure is. If it's in their store, it's in their shop. So it means that Jonathan and his team doesn't have their website filled with a bunch of hot garbage that doesn't actually work. They either make it and design it entirely themselves, or they get an incredible bang for the buck, and you're going to love the tools. No junk, just high quality.
Eric, could you imagine inventing so many of your own tools that you could legitimately start your own store?
That'd be nice.
Isn't that insane?
I would love
if you just take a second and step back and think about
Yeah.
that. He's invented so many tools throughout his career, or maybe invented is a grandiose term, but he's come up with new designs on so many tools that he had the ability. It made sense for him to just open up his own store and do it.
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's nuts.
And
All
a
good stuff.
portion of every sale goes to the Katz Moses Woodworkers with Disabilities Fund, which is an amazing fund, putting tools in the hands of people who have, various mobility issues.
Right. And,
Pretty awesome stuff.
I've been a part of that. So it's awesome. You
Mhm.
can check it all out at kmtools.com. So huge thanks to Jonathan for sponsoring the show. And remember that every single month, Jonathan wants to hook someone up in our audience with a $50 KM Tools gift card. All you have to do, go over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/offthecutpodcast. Enter in any tier, doesn't matter. Automatically enter to win that gift card every single month.
Heck yeah.
So, huge thanks to Jonathan again. I feel like that was one of the smoothest beginnings to our podcast we've had in a while.
Yeah, you like how I didn't butcher the ad read too badly?
I know.
Last week was pretty awful.
Yeah. So, elephant in the room, we're just going to call it out here. We told everybody that we were going to have a guest this week. The plans last minute didn't work out. We're going to keep that guest a secret other than our patrons know. We'll keep it, private, but this person had a family emergency and they were no longer able to join us. So, we know the Christmas season's hard for a lot of people. So everybody out there that, family emergencies, heart goes out to you. But we won't dwell on that. So what do we want to talk about tonight? We posted. Oh, did you guys get a seltzer water without me?
Cheers.
Oh,
I got a beer.
Oh, it's a beer. Oh, I'm
Wow.
actually doing dry January, or I'm going to attempt
nice.
to. We'll see. Yeah, I like doing.
Did you make it
one.
last year?
Yeah, I think so. I think I might have cheated a little bit because I have a friend's birthday is on like the 29th, so I feel like I might have ended a couple days early. But yeah,
that's good enough.
You just take a couple days off in February.
That's right.
Just to make up for it.
It was a big sacrifice. I didn't get drunk every single day in January, or in February, I should say, as penance.
So I had considered doing it, but then we're doing the bachelor party this weekend, and I was like, that's not gonna happen.
Ooh.
Your bachelor party?
Yeah, yeah. That's what the
Ooh, that's
snowboard's
exciting.
back there for. Packing up for
Nice.
going up to New
Oh,
York, going skiing for the weekend.
nice. Are the good hills in New York?
Oh yeah, there's a place called Holiday Valley in Ellicottville. It's a real nice
Okay.
place.
Okay.
It's like
Okay. I've heard of good
4 or
skiing in
5
Vermont,
hours.
but that's a little further north and a little further east, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My
Yeah.
friends are cheap, and so they wanted to drive somewhere.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Gotcha.
And you know, if you know me, my idea of fun is like maybe have a couple beers and like let's just chill. Like I'm not like let's go to Vegas or like do any of that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
you guys want to
So no
go
80s movie hijinks or anything?
no. No. I was like, you guys just want to go skiing and like maybe grill some burgers and like have some beers. Everybody's like, yeah, it sounds pretty cool. Sounds like a good
Nice.
time. Yeah.
You rent a little chalet or something?
Yeah, so my buddy who booked it, and he
Uh-oh.
literally like booked a place, canceled it, booked another place, canceled, and like kept doing this to the
Oh.
point it was like mid-December. I was like, dude, are we going or not? He's like, yeah, I got a place. It's
Why
like
did
10
he
minutes away. I
why did he
dude,
cancel them?
I have no idea.
Okay. Okay. I would be under the hood on that one. I'd be asking all sorts of questions.
But the thing is, it's just like the whole thing about the bachelor party is like just someone like we're planning the wedding. Someone
Yeah.
else just literally book a place and then just be like, we're going here. And we go,
Mhm.
great.
Mhm.
You have guys, you don't have to do themes. You don't have to do all this other
Yes.
nonsense. Just
Yes, very
tell
true.
us where we're going
Mhm. I
and
did
book a
a
hotel.
I did a bachelor party in Boston earlier in the year for my
Sure.
friend's bachelor party, obviously. And it was hilarious. The girlfriends or the wives were talking beforehand, and so Sophie was asking me what I'm going to be doing there. I was like, I don't know. And
Right.
simultaneously, some of the other guys were having conversations with their partners about what's going to happen
Right.
there.
Right. Right.
What's the plan? It was all I don't know. I don't know. There was like two guys who had an itinerary for this trip of 12 guys, and I was just like, I'm just gonna get on the plane, go to Boston, and I'll sort it out when I get there. I feel
Yeah.
like that's the energy of a guy's trip.
Yeah.
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 The only question somebody had was, "Do you want me to bring food or we just wanna, like, pick it up on the way?" And then somebody was like, "I don't know, we'll figure it out." It's like, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Exactly.
Like, we're
Yes.
grown men. Like, worst case scenario, we just go out and buy food. Like,
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
we'll find a way to get us fed. Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, so,
I
yeah,
miss
we'll have
that
a good time.
simplicity.
Yeah, we'll have a good time.
Well, so that answers my follow-up question that was going to be, are you a skier or a snowboarder? Because you have the snowboard in the background there. Have
I
you
have to
always been a
snowboard. So, I started snowboarding when I was in, like, college, but I
Okay.
skied prior. And here's my high level take on the ski snowboard scenario.
Mhm.
Snowboarding is more fun when you're in a crappy place. Case in point,
Oh.
Ohio.
Yeah.
Ohio is trash skiing. Like
So is Ontario, so I feel your pain.
the biggest hills, it's like will take you 20 to 30 seconds to get down.
Mhm.
So on a
Same.
snowboard, you can like screw around a little bit more or like,
Yeah.
do some mild jumps. And when I say jumps, I'm not pretending I'm a pro. Talking ones that are like 2 to 3 feet tall, right? If that,
Yeah.
probably more like 1 to 2 feet. Um, you can go on like some small rails that are like a foot or two off the ground or something
Yeah.
like that. Skiing in Ohio would just be boring as all hell.
Mhm. Yeah.
Now, if I'm going someplace nice, like if I would go out to like Colorado or like, places like that, but I would 100% ski
Ooh,
because it's like
interesting.
I think it would be way more enjoyable. And
Oh, okay.
skiing, you have the ability to kind of like fine tune yourself a little bit. Like, if you want to just go slightly to the left, you can just angle one of your skis and just give a little like boop, a little tap to go.
Mhm.
Snowboard, you're going straight or you're turning. Like, you don't really have an
Yeah.
option to just go and like do the teeniest course adjustment.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you on that front.
Yeah.
I,
What about
I
yourself? Your snowboard?
Yeah, so I've only skied twice in my life, and I was probably
Okay.
like 5 or 6 years old at the time. And then ever since then, it's just been all snowboarding. So I'm all in
Yeah.
on the snowboard, no
Yeah.
matter if it's a big hill, small hill. That's what I go for. Although I've been over the past 10 years or so, I've been teaching Sophie how to snowboard. And
Ooh.
it's kind of tricky because she's starting from this point where she doesn't have uh, you know, much skill at it. And then
Right.
so she comes to with me to these big mountains and I'm like, "Oh, let's go straight to the top." And she's very much like, "I need to stay. I can barely get off the bunny hill." So we have
Right.
this weird kind of tension anytime we go on a ski vacation together.
Right.
So I was
Right.
thinking
Right.
next time we go somewhere, I might try to learn to ski so that I can be more at her level. And then we
Mm.
could spend more time together and kind of enjoy it.
But would you just get frustrated?
Maybe. I've heard that skiing is easier to learn, but
Yes.
harder to get better at. Like there's nobody does the learning curve thing right. Like people use that phrase wrong. But
Right.
I think snowboarding has a steeper learning curve where you have to spend more time getting the basics, but then once you do, you accelerate pretty quickly. Whereas
Right.
skiing is a little bit more gradual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skiing, if somebody had never been on the snow before and they're like, I just want to go once, I don't want to practice a whole lot. What should I do? Skiing all day.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
That's
So
what I
there
would
you go.
say.
Maybe that's a good plan for the next time we're at the hill together.
Ooh.
I've never been, but my impression is that skiing you have a lot more margin of error when you're learning
Yeah.
versus snowboarding where you're just going to fall down.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you're learning
For-
to snowboard, you have to budget for being sore for like a week afterwards because you're going to
Oh,
fall a lot and it's going to be pretty painful.
See, I think I was lucky because I mildly skateboarded. And when I mean as a kid, like I would like push and then just like glide and like, okay, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall. Like by
Yeah.
no means was I going off jumps or anything like that. And
hope
then
you
I
don't fall.
also, right, right.
Yeah.
And I also had one of those like cheap plastic, like, Walmart, like sled snowboard things that you just like, it was
Oh
a little
yeah,
like
I have one
loop
of
and
those
you just
too.
like put your
Hmm.
feet in. And as like a kid, you'd like ride down a hill. I did that. So the first time I went snowboarding, like I was able to pick it up pretty fast, but it
Yep.
probably was because I had like a long-term like body memory of kind
Sure.
of that similar motion,
Hmm.
right?
I've
I
been
don't
meaning
know.
to put that theory to the test with surfing because, like you, I spent quite a bit
Oh,
of time skateboarding as a kid, quite a bit of time snowboarding. So I'm always curious whether or not those will transfer over to surfing.
okay. And with surfing, I mean, do you mean the like the ocean surfing or like the wake surfing where you like have those
Oh,
like ski boats that like sink themselves and then
oh,
like
good
shoot a
question.
huge jet of water behind it and you just kind of like cruise behind the boat. Have you ever done that?
No, I've never done either of those. That to me seems like a rich person thing. That's like
Oh yeah.
too. Nobody in my family was affording a wakeboarding boat. That was not an option for me growing up.
No, definitely not my family either. It's one of those luxuries if I have a family friend that's like, "Do you want to come to the lake?" I'm like, "Hell yeah."
Fuck yeah, let's go. Oh, there's explicit.
Oh, early.
There we go.
Wait, don't we have to play some sound clip?
Yeah,
Yeah, here
yeah.
we go.
Do you speak it? English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Nice.
I appreciate that, Derek.
Yeah.
We need to work on that whole soundboard thing. Just get more and more
I know.
soundboard clips on
I
there.
kind of wish you could have it off to the side so it was a little easier to get to.
Or like something at like the bottom of the screen where you just like tap it real
Yeah.
quick or whatever. Yeah, that's good. Well, I have an exciting announcement to make.
Oh, baby.
Oh,
This
It-
guy, Eric Spenceley Design Co.,
hmm
started to do some woodworking today.
Woo!
Yeah, it's been a long time. So, as I'm working on those Adirondack chairs.
hmm
Chair, I don't know why I said plural. Man,
Foreshadowing.
yeah, no, absolutely not. So I told you guys, I've been in like a little mental rut recently as far as like I just don't feel like super pumped about any of the stuff that I was doing. Like business was
Yeah.
going well, like, knocked out the website and stuff. But dude, as soon as I got out in the wood shop and just like started like making stuff, working on stuff again, I was like, this is it. I needed
Yeah.
this, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
hear you, man.
so like I guess one of the things I want to talk about it briefly is so when you're like in one of those ruts, how do you what's the good ways that you found to get yourself out of it?
Um, I mean, well, I was in a very similar situation to you, kind of post holiday. I
Right.
just
Mhm.
didn't really feel like going back to work. I
Yeah.
came back
Yeah.
from New York. I had a whole bunch of stuff going on during the holidays, and just came back, and I was like, I'm not ready to go back to work on January 2nd or whatever it
Hmm.
was. And I was just kind of lazing around the house, lazing around the house. I had like these little contenty things. Like there was like a sponsor integration that I had to shoot. And I just didn't feel like doing anything. So one day I went to the shop and I just organized.
Yeah.
I cleaned stuff up, I put stuff away, I got rid of a bunch of old tools that I didn't need anymore. And that just like kind of kick-started things. The next day I was in the shop, I was building those backpack frames that I was telling
Right.
you about before. I knocked those out pretty quickly. And then, I don't know, it just kind of builds on itself. So I think one of the best ways to get out of a rut is to just force yourself to do like something,
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
It almost doesn't even matter what it is. It doesn't have to be some grand project or something like that. It just has to be like a baby step towards a project.
Yeah. Or get yourself in the space where projects occur. So like even if you just
True.
go to like you went
Very
to the
true.
shop, right?
Yeah.
You went to the shop and you organized, or like you go out in the garage and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna vacuum the floors, or I'm gonna like organize my drawers or organize my scrap wood. Then you're gonna be like,
Mhm.
ah, I haven't seen this in a while. This would be a really cool idea. I
Yeah.
think that kind of helps spark it rather than just me. I sit in this room here in the office with my computer and my work computers next to me. And I'm like, I'm just not inspired when I just sit in the office, right?
Yes. I think and that's kind of like the double-edged sword. The double-edged sword of our jobs is I think you and I we're probably happier in the shop building things than we
No
are
doubt.
in the office doing administrative things and also like editing video and stuff like that. I enjoy that stuff, but I don't enjoy it nearly as much as just straight up building stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I think it's important to have both. I think that was a big thing for me when I came back. I had these like administrative jobs that I was
Right.
putting off. I was like, oh, I really don't feel like doing those. But going to the shop and doing shop projects gave me energy to come home and do the administrative things. And it doesn't really make sense when you say it like that, but that's just how it went down.
No, I know exactly
Yeah.
what you mean. It's you get moving and then like
Yeah.
you start doing that. And then
Yeah.
like I was working on the Adirondack chairs today and doing stuff that was miserable to do. But I was like, oh, maybe I won't go work out today. Maybe I'll just keep working on this because like I was excited. I
Yeah.
was in a flow. And what was I doing today? I was shaping MDF templates. That is awful to do. But I was like, I got this one shaped real nice. The curve is perfect. And like, I was like, this is fun. I need to get out and do this more. I need to build more things. Even
Yeah.
if I
Yeah.
never film it, I think every once in a while I just need to get out and just like build something quick. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
totally. That was that nice thing about building those backpack frames is like I'm not filming that. So I get to just go full speed at something. I don't have to like slow down, readjust the camera,
Yeah.
make sure my mic's plugged in and ready to go and all these
Right.
other things.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you listen to like a good audiobook while you're doing that or something? Kind of get
Audiobook,
lost in it?
podcast, music. I change it up actually. I think that day it was when I was working on the backpack frame, so it's just like music all day. It's just pumping,
Yeah.
having a good time.
Get
Yeah.
going. Gets you excited.
I think sometimes too you get overwhelmed thinking about this like grand project. You're like, oh, I don't know if I have the energy to like start a whole dining table build. Sometimes it's just like just start with
Yeah.
something small. Like, what's the smallest thing that's like, okay, you don't want to start the dining table, but could you organize the scrap bin? could you go in and just like take out the trash and sweep the floors like you're saying? It's like, yeah, I think I could probably manage that. And you go do that, and you're like, okay, I'm here. That only took me 10 minutes. Like, okay, let's start getting the boards ready at least for the dining
Yeah.
table. Yeah,
Yeah.
What if I mill up some lumber and then just call it a day? Like, tell
exactly.
yourself that. But then you're
Yes.
gonna be like, well, I milled it up. I might as well glue it up now too.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you
Exactly.
kind of like forced yourself to continually progress.
Yes.
I don't know. Gets you
Could I do
excited.
one more step? I could probably do one more step before dinner. Like, and then, by the end of the day, it's 7 o'clock. You're like, ooh, I should get out of here.
Yeah, yeah. And then you get in trouble for spending too much time working.
Yeah, yeah.
One of
Classic.
the things I found during this, it's because so the way I'm doing the Adirondack chair is first I'm making the MDF templates. So
Yeah,
then
okay, so hold on.
yeah, yeah,
Let's
yeah.
stop for a second. When you say make an MDF template, so I'm assuming what you're going to do is make a template and then you're going to use that to recreate a bunch of pieces on the router table, right?
Right. Right.
So when you're
Right.
making these templates, how are you doing it? Are you printing out a bunch of sheets of paper and gluing them down
Yes.
so cut with a do rough cut with a jigsaw or bandsaw and
Yeah.
then
And then
the
like
palm sander to
shape it with your hand and stuff like that.
yeah,
Absolute nightmare.
lots of dust.
So, yes. And this brought up something else I wanted to talk about. I have done that process so many times. I get it. I understand how it works. I've shown it so many times
Oh
that
yeah.
now I am never doing this again.
Right. Like never showing it in a video?
No, 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 no. I am physically never making handmade templates again. The
Oh,
next
okay.
project I do that
Uh-huh.
requires templates,
3D printed.
if it's small, I would 3D print it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
I am
Outsource.
100% just going to buy that Shaper Origin thing
Mm.
Oh, cool, cool,
or
cool.
outsource it. That's a good idea too.
Is there a
Mm.
company that would do that for you? Like, there
Yeah,
must be
man.
a
Yeah.
Is
company.
it?
I know the
Yeah.
company that sponsored my last YouTube video does CNC surfaces. So I guess you could probably just get them to CNC a sheet of like,
MDF.
MDF.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, look that
Or
up. I'm curious. It was Send Cut Send.
no, the one that sponsored my video was PCB Way.
Okay, okay. I'm
I'm
curious if either of them would do MDF templates. I know that J Katz, that's one of his things that what am I saying? It's one of the things that he does for other creators and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Looks like they do aluminum and they do plastic, but I don't see any MDF on here. But you could easily get it like a sheet of, like polycarbonate or yeah, like polypropylene sheets. I can't tell if they do sheet stuff or not.
Yeah, I don't know. But it would have to be like cost effective. Like an entire
Yes.
sheet of MDF is what, like $650?
Yeah, but what's
Yeah.
a day of your time worth to make templates?
True. Very
You
true.
know?
True.
Especially if it's something, you're in the office late at night, you're working on a project, you're like, okay, I got these designs done. I'm just gonna send them off to a company, and 2 days later they're gonna arrive in the mail. And then I
Yeah.
can get
And
right to the woodworking phase.
they're perfectly CNC'd to your specs, so you don't have to sit there and finesse it by
Yeah.
hand.
Because you've already
Yeah.
made the thing in Fusion, so you know that your models are bang on.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of those things. It's like when do you justify buying? Like if I get a CNC, right? Like if I get the Shaper Origin to start making these templates or whatnot,
Mhm.
when is it justified? Like how much is the Shaper Origin? What, like $3,000 or something like that?
I think it's like 1,500.
Oh, I don't know.
Is
But
it?
but
Oh, is it that
whatever it
cheap?
is, it's well over $1,000. If it costs me $100 to get templates made every time, it would take me 10 projects to break even on that. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
is it worth buying that, or is it worth just outsourcing the templates being made?
Yeah, I guess it comes down to what's the actual cost of the templates. But, I don't know. Also, but Shaper Origin,
Oh, I
you
was way off.
have Oh
How
yeah.
much is it, Derek?
Well, the complete Origin system is $35.99.
Okay.
The Shaper Origin itself is $28.99.
Okay.
Or you
Well,
can get a Gen 1 reconditioned for $18.99.
Ooh, what's the
that's
difference
not
between
bad.
Gen 1 and the current? I wonder.
It just has a bigger screen.
Oh, okay.
Or I'm sorry, the older one has a smaller screen, I should say.
Smaller screen. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Still operates the same though.
But you know, something like that, you could use it for a couple of years and then realistically probably sell it for 75, 80% of what you bought it for too. So there's that to consider.
I'm definitely considering something like that, but I'm trying to hold off on any tool purchases until we move. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
That's a
definitely
small one though.
I know. And it fits in the little
Yeah.
lunchbox thingy, or you pack it
Yeah.
away.
Tell me that thing has to come with a sustainer, right?
I'm sure. I think it's owned
I think
by um TTS or whoever owns whoever
Festival.
like the company that does Festival and Tanos and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Sawstop. Yeah, I'm sure it comes in that. But yeah, I don't know. See, the problem with that being, like, let's be real about it. It is basically a router and a computer.
Yes.
It's been out for a while. So
Mhm.
is it one of these things like with any tech product? Should I wait till the new one comes out to buy it?
Well, I think that's when you have to talk to Shaper Sean and be like, "What's coming down the pipeline? Is it going
Yeah.
to be 3 months? I might wait 3 months, or is it going to be 2 years until the new one comes out?"
Right. Right.
Yeah,
But think of all the sweet stuff that you'd be able to do with that in a small space. Like
it's true.
having a
Yeah.
full size CNC would be awesome, but it also is a massive space hog.
Yeah, totally.
So if
It's
in
not-
your new place you had the space, would you prefer the full size CNC, just like a 4x4, or the Shaper?
Shaper.
Even if you had a bigger space,
Yeah, because I just think it would be such a space hog.
yeah, I mean, it is a space hog, but once it's set up, it's pretty sweet.
So we're starting to slowly explore houses,
Yeah,
and it's very unlikely that we will have anything with more than a 2-car garage. So I wouldn't want to burden. I would rather have workbench space than I would having a like a large CNC take up a large amount of space.
fair enough. Fair enough.
But I don't know. Now you guys are making me second guess it. But I mean, how much is like a 4x4 Avid CNC? It's got to be at least 10 grand, right?
I think a little short of that. The Avids are pretty competitively priced. Let's see.
X-Carve Pros 5,500.
I thought
Really?
the X-Carve
That's
Pro was like
that's a
12
4x2.
grand.
I think that's a 4x2, Derek.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about what's that? What's the CNC company that everybody likes with the big screens on the side?
With the Xbox controller?
Yeah, it's a Canadian company. They're like 10 minutes away from me. 20
Something,
minutes away
there's like a
from me.
woodworker and there's a journeyman is what it's called.
Yeah, what is the name of that
I don't know,
company?
people are probably screaming at in their
I know.
It's called this. I don't know what it's
Type it
called.
out.
Canadian
Yeah.
CNC company.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like
Oh
I
my
get
God.
more use out of the Shaper. I feel like for how infrequently
Onefinity?
I would use it.
Onefinity.
Onefinity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Derek.
There you go for everybody else screaming while they're listening to the podcast. I feel like for how infrequently I would use the CNC, the
Mhm.
Shaper would be a better use for me.
Yeah, so the Onefinity 48 by 48 is $4,000.
Right.
That's pretty good price.
Right.
Considering what that thing
Right.
can do.
So you're talking
Let's
about being in a garage,
Yeah.
but would you, if you have a place with like a nice size yard in the back, say, would you do like build a shop out there?
Unlikely in the first house. Our plan
Yeah.
is to get a starter home and pay it off in about 2 or 3 years and then upgrade from there.
hmm
So
Wow.
I can't imagine our first home is gonna be just blow your tits off kind of house. So it's
Yeah.
like And if you had, had a home and if you built like a shop out in the backyard, like that's going to be a huge endeavor, right? And for something that we already don't plan on staying for a super long period of time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
But
very
maybe
fair.
house too. We
I
actually have
mean,
seen some houses that are slightly further outside of Columbus that like have it's like an acre or something like that and has like a 2-car attached garage and then has like a barn in the back. I was like, no, that would be sick.
ooh,
That
Yeah.
would be sick.
interesting.
But I think one of the contributing factors is going to be her commuting, right? So like I don't commute
Yeah.
to go to work. She does.
Yeah,
So
that's
I would
so
be
you can't
fine
be
living like a half hour out of the city.
you can't be yeah, but you can't be a full hour out of the city if you're going to commute
No.
every day. That sounds horrible. That's
No.
like think about it, you work an 8-hour day, you commute for 2 if you're lucky.
Right.
It's like well, so what does that leave you for yourself at the end of the day?
Yeah, you are destroying your car too if you're
Yeah,
driving
that
2
as well.
hours a day.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
But yeah, so I don't know. CNC is definitely in the cards. I also want to get a jointer. Jointer, I
Mhm.
would say, is number one for me. I would get a jointer before I get a CNC any day.
Will you get a jointer before you get a shaper origin though?
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right.
because I have so many projects that I want to build that are going to be out of hardwood, and having to like do my current method where I hot glue it onto a melamine sled and
Oh,
run through
yeah.
a planer is a nightmare. It works,
Yeah.
but it's a nightmare.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Adirondack chair is going well.
Nice.
Finalized all the templates. So
Okay.
now I've got so I picked up a bunch of cedar decking boards, like the 1 or 1 1/8 inch thick, nice, like
5-quarter.
I think 5-quarter like deck boards from Home Depot. They're actually moderately nice,
Okay. Cool.
fairly flat.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I have the templates, I can just slap the template on, draw it out, and then rough cut everything, and then just bash out all these pieces, and then it's just going to be kind of a puzzle it together. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds
Yeah.
sounds. I think once you make one, it sounds like you should make 2 of these chairs. Is what I'm saying, at least.
I might.
Yeah.
I'll see
'Cause
how it
it's gonna
turns
be
out.
right. Fair. Fair. It's gonna be basically the same amount of work to make 2 as it is to make 1 at the end of the day.
Yeah. The one thing I am a little concerned about is how well is cedar going to template route? Like, is it going to
Oh.
split?
It's not gonna split, but you're probably gonna have some tear outs.
Yeah.
Like
So
cedar's
I got some
super
fresh
soft.
router bits.
Yeah, fresh router bits. I mean, I would line up. I was gonna say like have like a sacrificial piece, but you can't even really do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be tricky. You might be gluing some pieces back on at the end of the project.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
I don't know.
yeah,
I'll go buy some extra cedar. So if I ruin some pieces, I'm just like, it's cut a new one.
I think that's how I would get like 10 to 20% extra with the assumption that at least one of them is going to have some pretty bad tear out and you're going to want to redo it so you don't get
Right.
splinters in your armrest or something.
But
Are you hand selecting them?
the cedar
Ordering
boards?
'em? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
you
I
got
didn't know
it.
if you're ordering them online or not because I was gonna say like they can be so knotty in spots.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess that's the nice thing about the template is you can like look at the board and like shift it over the
Very
knot
true.
or whatever. And like,
Very true.
and it was $10 for an 8-foot long board. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow, that's good
you
for
waste
cedar.
half a board. Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Still pretty flat too. So
You can get clear cedar, which is like cedar that has no knots in it, but it's usually at least double what knotty cedar is.
yeah.
Mhm.
Do you have that available? Do you guys, either of you, have cedar available at your lumber yards?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, next town over, there's a lumberyard that is exclusively cedar in all
Ooh,
different shapes and sizes.
interesting.
I was trying to come up with a pun. What's their name?
I think it's just like the cedar shed or something like that.
Oh, not the cedar feeder.
Cedar feeder. There we
No.
go. Nice.
Not my best work. Not my best work.
You're working on it. So it's a work in progress.
Yeah. But long story short, Adirondack chairs got me rejuvenated. I'm pumped
Hell
to
yeah.
be back building stuff.
Hmm.
And I'm buying a damn CNC at some point. I'm not doing these handmade templates anymore. And MDF sucks. Can we just get that out one more time? MDF is awful to work with.
Have you ever thought about doing your templates in like an acrylic sheet or something so that they last a little bit longer?
I haven't, but that's not a bad idea. Because I know
I
there's
gotta.
what's his name? Designs by Donnie. Like makes a
Mhm.
huge business on Instagram where he makes tons of acrylic templates for stuff.
Yeah,
So
true.
you make a good point. Maybe in the future, when I use like a CNC to cut templates of something that I would, and it would be way more durable than the MDF because the MDF, if you ding it at all,
Or if it gets
Yeah.
wet.
yeah. Oh, that's not a bad
Storing it.
idea.
And MDF, it's going to absorb moisture over time. It's going to go all warpy on you. It's thick. It's, I'm sure you're using like half-inch sheets or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
With acrylic, you could get like an eighth of an inch sheet. You could pack, 12, 12 templates into an inch thick area, right?
It's not a
Or
bad
8
idea.
templates. Sorry, that was bad math on my part.
How much does a sheet of like eighth inch thick acrylic cost? Like if I wanted this, I know this is hard to say. Like a
I was getting 4
4
by
by 8
4
sheet
sheets. Let me
for
look.
like
It's
$200 maybe.
No, I don't think so. Plastic sheet. I was getting 4 by 4 sheets, I think, and they were like $40 maybe.
That's not bad. So it's
And that's
roughly
Canadian
double the
too.
price of
What I
MDF.
keep- right.
Yeah. Let's see. Black acrylic. Uh, thickness 3 mil. 48. That's $100.
Okay, so it's let's call it 4x the price, but it's way more
Yeah.
durable. Yeah, that's
That-
something
oh,
I
let me see.
consider.
A 1/4 inch at 4 foot by 8 foot for 218.
Okay.
Oh, you can get extruded.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a
like
whole
4
bunch of
times the
different types of
price.
acrylic too. That
That
was
too.
black. Yeah.
That'd be interesting. I don't know. I'm going to play around with that idea of using acrylic
Yeah.
for templates, especially like, let's say I nailed the Adirondack chair and I'm like, oh man, that's perfect. Well, I know once I have a house, I'm going to want to make 4 to 6 of them, right?
Yeah, totally.
Well, 3 or 5.
Yeah. Why 3 or 5?
Because you already made one.
But
Yeah,
I'm
you
going
have
to
to have
give
an
this
even
one
number.
away. I don't want to
Oh,
hold
already.
on to this until we move.
Oh,
I'm just going
you're
to give it
giving this
away.
one away. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should make
Yeah.
them for the clubhouse of your like apartment complex.
No, F that place, man. This place sucks. I'm out of here. But yeah, Adirondack chair's going well. It's inspiring me. Feel excited. What are you working
Well,
on, Zach? What's got you going?
yeah, let's talk about my life because it is not going well lately.
Oh no.
So I'm going to air a grievance now, and I'm also going to announce that I have given up on a project. You know how I was telling you maybe last podcast, the podcast before about electroplating?
No.
Yeah, I
No!
know. And I'm disappointed, and I might come back to it at some point. But basically, the long and the short of it is the company that sold me the kit that I used to do it kind of screwed me over a little bit.
Was it
So
rigid?
no, but it
Oh.
may as well have been. It's a company
Odie's?
called Caswell Coatings.
Odie's
Um,
oil?
yeah. So I
Caswell
called up
Coatings.
this company.
Don't fly Caswell Coatings.
Yeah, exactly. I called up this company. I had a conversation with a guy there. Let's call him John. I explained exactly what I wanted to do. I said,
Yeah.
I want to 3D print a part. I want to paint it in a conductive paint, and then I want to electroplate it. He said, great. Tons of people do that. I said, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on your website. I'm going to pick out all the things I need. I'm going to send them to you in an email.
Sure.
And then you tell me if that's everything I need in order to do this process. And he was like, great,
Fair.
sounds good. So I send him my shopping list. He says, yep, Zach, that all looks amazing. I order it. It gets to my place. I'm 3/4 the way through the process. And I see this step that's like, once you have your object painted in the conductive paint, then you have to dip it in a tinning solution. I'm like, uh-oh, tinning solution. I don't have any tinning solution here.
Yeah.
So I'm looking through it. I'm like, okay, I definitely need to tin these things, whatever that means, before I can electroplate them. I look on their website. a tinning solution, a 6-ounce container of tinning solution is $100. And I have things that are
Whoa!
like big. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to need like $500 worth of this tinning solution.
Oh.
And at
And to be
that point, I
crystal
was,
clear, they're not sponsoring it any way,
no, no,
shape, or
no.
form. You're paying 100% out of pocket.
Pay it out of pocket. Pay it out. I've already paid $500. No, I paid more like $700 for all the like various chemicals and parts and stuff that I needed for this project. And at that
Oh.
point, I was like, it's gonna take them a week to ship me the tinning stuff. I was like, you know what? F this. I'm gonna go for a paint finish on this project, and I'll leave aside this electroplating thing for another project.
Damn it. I was so
It's
excited to see that.
I know I was excited to do it too, and it's just like at a certain point, I did a kind of a little bit of YouTuber math in my head. It's like, how many more views am I gonna get if this project has a copper finish versus a black finish, or some
Yeah.
sort of paint finish? And I was like, is it
No.
gonna 2x? Because it's gonna be
No.
twice the effort. And
I mean,
yeah, so
unless you're
that's
like, I made a solid copper dream. This was the Dreamcast, right?
the Dreamcast, yeah.
Hmm.
So I did at the end of the day, I did a little math. I was like, I don't think I'm actually gonna get the return on the effort here. And I'm gonna have to delay this video, this whole project by another couple weeks while I wait for the stuff to come in. And it
Hmm.
was just like, it's a fun concept. I will do it at some point, but it's not going to fit on the timeline for this particular
Yeah.
project.
Oh.
So you're going to incorporate that failure into your video or just skip straight over it?
I don't think I will. I think I'm going to skip straight over it because there's not really much of a lesson to teach the audience other than don't trust the
Give the
guy at the
instructions.
store when he says you have everything
Right.
you need.
And
Right?
I think
So-
in the video it would just come off like you're just bitching about this company.
Exactly, and it's also like it's neither here nor there for the end product.
Right.
Maybe I'll have like a little side at the end of the video where like I was planning on electroplating this, but it didn't work out for this video. Keep like stay tuned, and maybe I'll do it for a future project or something like that.
Here are my thoughts. I wouldn't even address it because
Yeah.
let's say most people don't listen to this show. Well,
Yes.
more people listen to this than they listen to the Green Series podcast, available on Apple and
Sure.
Spotify.
Facts.
It's just cold hard facts. The overwhelming majority of people who watch your videos do not listen to the podcast, so they will be none the wiser.
Yeah.
To even like, don't even talk about it, because if you're like, oh, I was gonna gold plate or copper plate it,
Yeah.
they'd be like, oh, well, this sucks. Why didn't you do it? You just don't
Yeah.
address it, and then nobody will have.
And then you have
anything
to
bitch about.
and in order to properly address it, I would have to spend 2 to 3 minutes.
Right.
And it doesn't really affect the final outcome of the video or of the project. So I think you're right. I think it's just not really worth bringing up in the video for the sake of brevity.
You could even mention something like, as you're finishing it, like, as I've been finishing so many of these consoles, it's got me kind of thinking, what other ways can I really push the way I finish? So I think in a future video, I'm going to try out some really interesting techniques, but you'll have to subscribe to learn about that. That would be okay, because you're almost foreshadowing, hinting like, I've been thinking about all these different ideas, Yeah.
And to be fair, I spent all day in the shop today. So my plan with this project is to now finish it to a higher level than I have finished any other 3D printing project.
Okay.
So I got a bunch of like have you ever seen this product? It's called filler primer. So it's both filler and primer that you spray on.
Almost kind of like a Bondo-y type thing.
Kind of like a Bondo-y thing, but it's a spray on application.
I'm
I
not
got
aware of
that.
it. Sounds cool.
Yeah, so I got that and I coated the 3D printed parts in that, and then I spent all day sanding them and polishing them until they were like a perfectly smooth finish, and then I hit them with a really glossy black finish. So it will end up being a really cool looking finish when it's done.
Yeah.
It won't be copper plated, but it will be above and beyond any 3D printing projects I've done in the past, and it kind of shows. My idea now is to show people how they can make 3D printed parts look nice if they're willing to put the time in.
Okay, so that's gonna be kind of one of those, like, lessons inside the video of, like,
Yeah,
a lot of people complain about 3D printed parts. They have all, like, the lines. I wanna show you how to turn it and make it look awesome. People have no idea it was 3D printed.
exactly.
Ooh,
Yes.
I like
Yeah.
that. I like
Yeah.
that.
So that's
Now
that's my pivot instead of the electroplating.
now let me ask you this.
Hmm.
After you've spent, let's be honest, probably a couple days getting that, like, perfect finish.
Yes, yeah.
Seriously, though,
No, you're right. I spent all day today sanding, and I only
I
got the
know.
first couple of coats of paint on, and I know I'm gonna have to sand them more.
In the future, now that you've done that once and you've shown yourself and your audience that you can do it, have
Yeah.
you ever considered outsourcing, kind of speaking what we
Ooh.
were talking about earlier, outsourcing your finishing?
No.
No, I haven't. Well, okay, so to call back to earlier thing, the company that sponsored my last video, PCB Way, they have a service where you can send them STL files and they will 3D print things for you, and you can have them resin print things to the point where it looks like injection molded plastic, where it's like perfect. So I have considered doing that, like modeling something at home and then sending it away to be printed somewhere else that can do a better job of printing and then shipping it to me.
Obviously, you would still print it out in your home multiple times, like prototype it, be like, okay, this is perfect, exactly what I want. Then you send it to
Exactly.
them.
Yes,
Is it
exactly,
expensive? Is that
exactly.
service
No, it's
expensive?
actually I think I priced out have doing my last project, which was the TS2. I think to have them printed, it was about
50
40
bucks?
bucks. Yeah,
Oh,
40,
okay.
50 bucks.
Sure.
And then yeah.
I mean, in filament, it would have cost you like 5,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
but you get a really nice finish and you don't have to touch any of it.
Exactly. And I mean, look,
Okay.
I spent all day today sanding, filling,
Right.
painting. That's a whole day. I'm probably going to spend at least half of tomorrow doing the same thing. Or I could spend 40, 50 bucks, send them the files, and then I get back a perfect piece in the mail.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you
Well, you know
talked
what
me out of
else?
everything.
Are you talking?
You don't have to talk me out of finishing. You know what else you could spend? You could spend your money supporting the show
Oh,
and becoming a patron of Off the Cut
mhm,
Podcast.
mhm.
And we have some new folks that decided to do just that.
Oh, no way,
Uh,
really? I didn't know
new.
this. I didn't get
Well,
any notifications.
I I think I probably just took care of it quickly. I don't know.
Okay, nice.
Mhm.
But first off, I have to send out a huge apology because we got so wrapped up in conversation in the last episode,
I noticed that when I was doing the editing.
we forgot to thank our patrons.
We did
So
forget
we're
to
going to
thank
thank
our
our
patrons.
patrons twice tonight. Um, First off, our new patrons this week, we've got Steven from Wind and Fire Woodwork, and we've got
Hell yeah.
Chris Nelson. We've also got our returning top tier patrons, Dan Armendarez. Dan, when we have this next patron hangout, you got to tell
Yeah.
me how to pronounce your name because I feel
Yes.
bad.
Maybe he enjoys watching you struggle every week, though. Might be like a nice little bonus for him.
Possible. It's probably not even his real last name. Anyway, we've got Luke Schmidt, Chris from Black Forest Creations, Josh at Freedom Workshop, Corey Duvall, and Dadu. But because we forgot him last week, I'm going to tell you one more time our top tier patrons: Dan Armendarez, Luke Schmidt, Chris at Black Forest Creations, Josh at Freedom Workshop, Corey Duvall, and Dadu. So the big draw to Patreon: one, instantly get entered to the Cam Tools gift card that we do every single month. You also get
Mhm.
access to the after show, which is an entire another podcast that we do every week. You get access to the live video chat hangouts with us where we can just
Mhm.
talk about whatever, get your name on the show, Discord server. There's all kinds of
Mhm.
stuff over there. Anything I
Mhm.
missed?
Ooh. No, but you said Discord server, and that reminded me. I posted a TikTok video on our Discord because
Yes.
I wanted to bring it up on the podcast.
Ooh, let's talk about it.
Okay, so this guy, and I don't even think it's really worth showing the video, honestly. I think it's probably just better to discuss the
Summarize it.
concept. This guy created a plugin for Fusion 360
Yeah.
so that he could describe what he wanted to ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT would model it for him in Fusion.
What?
Yeah. Now,
Pretty sweet.
It's very sweet. It's really cool watching him go through it. But then I've since watched the video a couple times, and I'm now kind of wondering if it's actually as efficient as he kind of makes it look in the video, because he's playing
Yeah.
his video at 10x speed or something. It's him typing in prompts into his computer, and then Fusion 360 just kind of magically does it on screen.
I think he said Python is running over it. Is what's doing the translation there.
Yeah, I think he's using Python as a translation layer between the two. Um,
Oh,
but it got me wondering, like, is that because he's making a relatively simple shape, and it seems like he's having to type in a lot of prompts to ChatGPT in order to get it. But as a concept, I thought it was very neat.
yeah. So like the idea of it, where I was like, make me so like common problem that people use 3D printers for. You're trying to put a shot vac hose in with a tool where
Yeah.
it doesn't fit. You could say, make me a ring that's 1/8 of an inch thick that
Hmm.
has an interior diameter of 2¼ inches that
Hmm.
tapers to an interior diameter of 1¼ inches.
Yeah.
So you could do that with this app, or you could just make 2 rings and Fusion, and
And
then
then
use
loft
the
between the two
loft
of them.
command, and it's in 3 steps.
Yeah, so that's the part, and he was making these motor mounts for electric motors, I think, and it was basically a square plate, and then it had 5 or 6 holes in it, and then a central hole for the actual
Sure.
shaft of the motor. And so I was looking at it, I was like, I could probably model that up in about a minute.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. The only thing was these were standard motors. So if
Yeah,
you could get ChatGPT, if you could say make a mounting plate for this size motor that's 3 millimeters thick, and then ChatGPT would be able to know what that motor is and know where its screw locations is,
sure.
and then make something that way. I think that would be very handy. But what you're describing, where you're like, oh, I need a hose adapter, and it's this size on this size, like you may as well just model the damn thing if you're even
Right,
halfway proficient with Fusion.
right.
Absolutely.
Now, what you said that was interesting, if it had the ability, like, let's say I don't know, I wanna print in some sort of adapter for the DeWalt 735 planer,
Yeah.
and I say, make me a replacement dust port for the DeWalt 735 planer. And it
Yes.
goes, here you go. That would be sweet because it would
Yes.
have to have this like library of knowledge to know exactly what size all those different pieces are. So you didn't have to
Mhm.
go and measure and model and stuff. Now that would be cool.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's a future iteration of ChatGPT would be able to do it. Because my understanding is that ChatGPT right now, the one that most people have access to publicly, only has a limited set of information that it can pull from. But
Yeah,
there's a future version that is supposed to have basically access to the entire internet. So you could imagine a world where ChatGPT finds the service manual for the DeWalt
sure.
planer and then finds all the specs. So the original design files for it exist somewhere on the internet.
Ooh.
ChatGPT finds those and then is able to work off of those. But as it is now, I don't think it would be able to do anything like that.
I was going
Yeah.
to say, do you think DeWalt even lets those design specs that detailed out online?
Yeah, that's true. They may very well not. Yeah,
But I bet they keep that under lock and key as best they can.
it's true. It's true. Yeah.
Mm, mm. Well, speaking
But
of design things, if anyone
mhm,
listening out there happens to have a 3D print file for the dust collection port on that absolute piece of shit rigid spindle belt sander combo thing,
oh, I was using it for the first time the other day when I was
what are
making
your
those
thoughts?
backpack frames. It's okay. It's
Right.
fine.
It's okay is a generous.
It
Like,
didn't blow me away, but it wasn't like it it wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be based on your warnings. I
did
did
you
notice
did you go
though,
buy it or did you use it at like a friend's house?
it's funny, my dad actually bought it and brought it
Uh,
over. So yeah. He
did you
got it
find
because
it to
he's
be aggressive?
what's that?
So did you find it to be very aggressive? I find it to be very aggressive when sanding.
No, I was sanding hard maple with it, so it's probably like a
Oh,
worst
okay.
case scenario.
Yeah.
But I was surprised by I was sanding 3/4 thick hard maple, and it it was giving me angle, like it was not evenly applying pressure to the
Mhm.
surface. I had my
Yep.
maple hard on the deck. I was pressing it against it, and I was ending up with these like angled standing marks. I had to be very careful not to apply too much pressure.
Yep. Dude, it
That was my
sucks. I
biggest.
hate that thing. I want to drop kick that. But like it's I'm serious. I absolutely hate that sander.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's like I guess it's as good as I'm gonna get for the amount of for the as frequent as I use it, which is like once or twice a year. I'm not gonna get a better value than that.
When
Yeah.
you went to make your templates, did you use it
I
to?
did. I'm gonna
Yeah.
talk about how much I hate it in the video. And I despise using this thing. Oh, it's so bad. It is so bad.
So sorry,
Oh.
you were saying something about the dust collection port before I interrupted with my mini review.
Oh yeah. If anybody has happened to have designed a dust collection port for that, and I'm willing to pay you for it. Just
I
I
just
would
jammed
love the
my
file.
I just jammed my Festool hose in it.
Duct
Yeah,
tape.
I duct tape. That's what I do. That's what I did. But my like the plastic thing in the back snapped off, so like the hose doesn't really
Oh,
sit
I
in there.
see. I
Yeah,
see. I see. I see.
and it's I don't like because the piece snapped and I don't have the other side of it. It's difficult for me to conceptually figure
Yeah.
out what the piece needs to look like to go in there because it like if you think of like think of a tube of PVC. I cut it like hot dog style basically is how it broke.
Mhm.
So I don't know what the other part of the curve looks like and like how it locks in and stuff.
Gotcha. You didn't keep the other side of the piece. You couldn't just like glue it back together or something.
I didn't notice when it had broken, and
Ah,
so I have no idea where it's at. I suppose I could just buy a replacement part, but I don't want to give Rigid any of my money.
lifetime warranty.
Yeah, right. That's a joke. Ooh, I put out a thing on Instagram today asking people to submit questions.
Oh right, yeah.
Oh yeah,
So,
I got two.
Yeah, we got time.
okay. Phew. First, this is from Jeff from Maker's Way. He said he wants us to discuss politics,
Okay.
religion,
Okay.
Middle East. Obviously, we're not discussing any of those. But he said storytelling in YouTube videos and finding your style/niche. I thought that this is an
Mm,
interesting one.
mhm. Mhm.
You tend to have a more story arc than I do. I try to kind of start my video out with a story
Yeah.
and then maybe go in and out of it,
Yeah.
but I feel like you
I
do
think
a
that's
better job at it than I do.
oh, well, thank you. That's nice of you to say. I think if you want to have a story in your video, it really helps to sit down beforehand and think it out. Like,
Oh
not
yeah.
even you don't have to like have a big script or anything, but like have like the main kind of beats that you want to hit
Yes.
and see at like a high level, like okay, so I have the story, I have this arc that I want to say this part at the beginning, that's your intro, then you maybe like a quarter of the way through the video you mention this little thing, halfway through the video you mention this, third of the or 3/4 of the way through the video you mention this, and then you wrap it up at the end.
Yeah.
And you can see you have basically the outline of an essay there. You have intro, first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, outro, conclusion,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So when you can kind of conceptualize it like that, it's actually relatively easy to lay it out in a video.
And for me, I kind of do a similar idea. For me, after I've done the project, I typically do have a lot of reflection on it. Like
Yeah.
it almost kind of comes with some sort of like lesson or takeaway point or something
Hmm.
of that nature that you can then like morph into a story of some sort.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And that's kind of that kind of goes almost against what I was saying, because if you just take a second and breathe at the end of a project,
Yeah.
you can be like, okay, so what were the things I learned here? And then you can kind of start laying the groundwork for those earlier in the video and kind of develop your story afterwards. So there's two kind of ways you can
Yeah.
approach it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the nice thing about a woodworking project or any project is that you have a natural story arc right there.
Yeah.
You have, I want to build this thing. Here's all the stuff I did to build this thing. And then here's the thing.
And then here's what went well. Here's what didn't go well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, there's your story right there, and you can kind of have fun with it. Like, so one thing that I've been trying to do lately, to some success, is have an A story and a B story,
Ooh.
and then you're trading off between the two to help keep people engaged.
Yeah.
So you tell
yeah.
a little bit of one story for a minute, and then you tell a little bit of another story for another bit, and then they kind of there might be some interplay between them. So it's a very common thing. You see it, like, go watch like an old Seinfeld episode. There's like Jerry's storyline, and then there's Kramer's storyline or something like that, and it's just constantly trading back and forth between the two.
Right. Yeah. But I think you're 100% right, and so many great, very successful channels do stuff like that. But I also think we should step back for a minute and mention this is one of those. How do you take a channel that's already like doing fairly well and like dial it up a little bit? If it's your first YouTube video, I would not worry about an A story and a B story.
No, definitely not. Don't listen to me saying that and then think that you have to do this in order to make a YouTube video, because you
No.
definitely do not. It is like,
No.
yeah, this is stuff that I only started to think about once I had the basics nailed down.
Learn how to tell one story before you try and tell two at the same time.
Right.
Yes. But I think, like I was saying before, you have your story for any woodworking project. You have a story there, and it doesn't even have to be reflective, like Eric's saying. It's like, your story is, I want to build this thing. Here's all the steps I took to build the thing, and then here is the end result.
Yeah. I cut this piece, and then I realized I don't know how to cut this next thing. So, I thought about this idea, I thought about this, but then I set it on this one. Like, that is a story, but it's also describing how you built the thing. Like, like you said, you got a story arc right there.
Yeah, I want to build a table. Okay, and then you get to the shop. It's like, so the first thing is I milled up the lumber, and then I realized that I don't have a jointer. So how am I gonna possibly mill this lumber without a jointer? Well, I made this big sled and I push it through my my planer, right? So
it's like the way you phrase things that makes a story versus just telling.
And if you're,
go ahead, Derek.
I was gonna say, and if you're just sanding a flat board or putting a flat edge on a piece of wood or cutting a straight line, don't spend more than a couple seconds on that. We don't need to see it the whole project.
I mean, that's a great point, because and it's something that I've had to kind of train myself out of. There'll be parts of the project that are like today when I was sanding. I spent 6-8 hours just sanding away at filler, basically. When you see the final video, that's not going to be a third of the video like it took, a third, like it was actually a third of the project. It'll be
2 seconds.
I'll say all the things that I think are relevant to the audience, and then I'll move on. So you kind of have to play with time a little bit like that. As long as you can keep it interesting, keep the footage. As long, if you have something important to say there, by all means, keep the footage. But if you're just gonna show the 3 hours of sanding because it took you 3 hours to sand it, don't do that. That's a bad idea.
Yeah, I agree though. If you're doing something unique or different, for sure, like maybe you need to talk about it a little bit or show a little something, like there's a technique there or something. But
move on.
Yeah,
that's right.
But
Don't be afraid to move on.
The fact that sorry, who was this who sent this question?
Jeff from Maker's Way.
So Jeff, you're already thinking above and beyond what a lot of people do when they set out to make a YouTube video. So kudos for that.
Oh yeah.
You're definitely thinking in the right direction. And it's like, it's going to take a while to hone that skill, but the fact that you're even thinking about it puts you ahead of the game.
Oh yeah, no doubt. So the other part of his question, and we'll speed it up a little bit here.
Yeah, sorry.
Finding your no, it's fine. It's great conversation to have. Finding your style slash niche. So like,
Mhm.
how did you find your style for videos?
Oh God, yeah, that's a good question. Imitation, imitation, imitation.
Yep, that's exactly what I was gonna say. I in a lot of my shots, I do a lot of like very, very tight close-up shots.
Mhm.
Because the reason is I watched some of Chris Salomone's videos and I was like, this is different. I should try
Mhm.
that. And then I would watch some of like Cam from Blacktail's videos where he would do some like, sped up shots. And I was like, oh, this kind of allows me to see like the progress of something moving. I was like, ooh, I should try some of these. So I watch other videos, and it's not even all from woodworking space. I watch videos that are in multiple different spaces and like, ooh, I like
Yeah.
that. I'm gonna try that. Ooh, I like that. And then when you kind of take all of these different bits and pieces and create your own thing, it kind of becomes your own style. And I think these things morph over time as well.
Yes. I think imitation, imitation, imitation. You should be imitating from a bunch of different sources. You should
Yeah,
be going out there and seeing what you like and kind of creating your own mosaic based on other things and putting your own spin on things. Like I think
sure.
that's how I learned a lot of photography and basic videography was just watching other people's stuff and then going and trying to imitate it. And usually the first imitation didn't end up in a video or anything like that. It was just kind of for my own education. And then I'd be like, okay, that's cool, but what about if I added this? And
Yeah, yeah,
then
yeah.
that little thing where you do like, and then that was what would end up in my videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of like fake it till you make it. Only you you're kind of faking it or copying until you find the way that works for you, that looks
Yeah.
best for you.
Yes. Yeah. You're going to try a whole bunch of different things. And that's the other thing about finding your style is you're going to try a million different things. You're like, I like that. That I didn't like so much. I'm not going to do that again. And
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah. Self-awareness of
iterating on
what.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. All right, we got to keep going. Sorry.
Okay.
Miranda wants to know how awesome
Ooh.
is your fiance? She's lovely. She's
She's,
she's the most beautiful woman in the world. I'm so lucky to
oh, I
have
thought she was talking about mine.
her. Oh. No, Miranda's great. She doesn't listen to this.
I did. Oh, I had an idea for a funny segment that we could do on the show.
Ooh.
Sophie hates reading mean comments that I get on my YouTube channel. So I thought
How
it'd
does
be
she
funny
look?
to, I don't know, because she's a masochist.
A
She doesn't
masochist.
look that often, but occasionally she does. I think it'd be funny to have Miranda and Sophie on one episode and then have them
Read mean
react
tweets.
to mean comments on our channel.
Or they could clap back at the mean comments.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun too.
I don't know if Miranda's that quick with like punny, witty things to say. She would need
I'll
time to
show them to her
prepare.
in advance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
You can show her in
Then it
advance.
wouldn't be a good reaction.
Yeah, I think the reactions
Yeah.
are more important than the clapping back.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Next question. We'll go high level here. This is
Okay.
from Myers.makes. Wants to know
Mhm.
how to make money on social media, brand deals, and affiliate links.
Whew. Okay, that's a broad question.
Yes.
I would say focus on growth first.
Yep.
Put out the best content possible, and the brand deals will come to you.
Yes. I couldn't agree more. I actually had a conversation with somebody on Instagram about this exact topic today.
Mm-hmm.
They had about 6,000 followers on Instagram. Great. That's awesome. But what I was explaining to him, I was like, if you get a brand deal, it's going to be roughly in the ballpark of 50 or so bucks,
Yeah,
maybe 100. At that point,
yeah,
it's not worth your time.
yeah, yeah. I think we hammered this point home early in the podcast.
Yeah.
We used to talk about it quite a bit more, but until you get into like the thousands of dollars, like the brand deals aren't really worth your time because they take a lot more time than you're going to initially think.
Right. Right.
I mean,
Um,
if it's if it's a brand that maybe you want to work with again in the future, it might be
Sure.
worth establishing a
True.
relationship.
Yep. I think early on, when you have like 6,000 followers, let's just say between 5 and 25,000
Sure.
followers, probably the most valuable thing you're going to get is free tools
Oh yeah.
and free materials. And then you kind of like build relationships from there.
Right. Right. Right.
Um, because in terms of dollar value, you're going to get anywhere between $50 and $250, which it's not really worth your time.
Right.
That brings
Sure.
up an interesting question.
Hmm.
Do you feel like do you feel like smaller makers accepting free tools in exchange for spots is diluting how much people can make in the space?
Ooh, interesting question.
Potentially.
Yeah, I mean, probably to some extent. Um, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I don't like these people. I had this friend who was a writer, and she was very much like she used to go on these long Facebook tirades about how writers shouldn't work for free. And I was like, it's so it's so transparently self-serving because she was just worried about competing with other writers who were willing to
Mhm.
work for free, right?
Right.
She was worried about like effectively like trying to get every writer in the world to unionize and say we're not going to work for less than $1 a word or something like that. And it's like I don't know. You gotta there are situations where it makes sense to work for free, and it comes down to every individual, and you kind of just got to make that
Yeah.
decision on your own,
Yeah.
and not worry about like how your choices are affecting the negotiations of another creator. Like I don't know. You
I
kind
would
of just got to
agree.
look at it for yourself.
Fair enough.
It's
Yeah.
something that's out of my control, whether or not
Yes.
you or Zach or Myers takes a certain brand deal
Yeah.
or anything. I can't control it, so I'm not going to
Yeah.
worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I think that's good life advice in general.
right?
Yeah.
I will find other avenues to get revenue or whatever if that one doesn't work.
Yeah.
So how to make money on social media? Uh, let's go very quickly. Instagram. You can make
Brand deals.
a couple pennies on their like ads on Reels things if you're lucky. And
Theoretically,
you're in
assuming you're in the
certain and if you're in the
geographic
US.
boundaries. Yeah.
To give you an idea, I made like a couple dollars after several million views, and I said, "F this, I'm out." Um,
Wow.
yeah. The only way you can make money on Instagram is getting brand deals. Like somebody wants you to do a sponsored post, right?
Yeah.
TikTok, pretty much the same thing. Facebook, you can do once you get monetized, you can get paid natively on their platform, which pays handsomely if you do well. But good
Mhm.
luck getting monetized because
Mm.
I'm running through that right now. I have all the green
Yeah.
check marks and it still says I'm not monetized. So
Yeah.
who knows? YouTube is probably the easiest to understand and make sizable income. And what
Yeah.
I basically mean by that is once you get monetized on YouTube, then just every video you put out pays you.
Yeah. You get,
Um,
per 1,000 views, you get X amount of dollars. Now, there's all sorts of caveats in there, like it fluctuates
right,
seasonally
right,
and
right, right.
depends on how long people watch your video for and blah, 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 blah. But you can reliably count on that income, based on how many thousands of views you're getting essentially.
Yes. And then you can also do like, brand deals inside of YouTube videos and stuff like
Yes. Yes.
that.
Yeah.
And not to even, gloss past selling things through,
Yep.
social
On a
media.
daily
Oh,
basis.
yeah. Yeah. Check out these
Um,
shirts, check out these plans, check out whatever. Yeah. So the
selling
last
selling
one,
products, and then also there's I think you're going to go to affiliates next, right?
yes. Yeah.
But then also worth mentioning, like this show, and this kind of arches over all social medias. You can have a Patreon or something where people
Yeah.
can, donate X amount of dollars to you every month in order to support what you're doing.
Right. Because we do this show for free for everybody, so you can listen to it. And if you want to support, you can go on Patreon. But
We don't
yeah,
we don't do it for free. We do it for the select group of people who are willing to pay for it and make it free for everybody else.
that's true.
They get the after show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our thank you for people supporting us and allowing us to give this out for free, basically.
Yeah. And also,
So we
we
don't.
have the baked in KM Tools ads as well. So
Yeah, because Jonathan's nice enough to support other people in the community.
mhm.
So the last one he asked about was affiliate links. So
Yeah.
basically, how that works, and in essence, is you sign up for an affiliate program for any company. It could be
Mhm.
Amazon, it could be Home Depot, it could be KM Tools or whatever. And then you post a link. So it'll be like kmtools.com/routerplane/Zach Builds or something like that. So it's like a special link that takes somebody directly to a product. And then if they buy something from using that link, you then get like a specified commission or a percent of
Mhm.
that. It
Mhm.
costs the buyer nothing more, but
Yeah.
it kind of shows like, hey, KM Tools, I sent this guy to you. Can you give me
Yes.
basically like a bounty or like a referral or something like that? Is kind of how those affiliate links work.
Mhm. Mhm. And depending on the brand or the site, it's more or less money. There's all these, weird percentages. Like Amazon is very easy to use. They have a wide variety of tools, but
Right.
they don't pay that well. It's
No.
I think the average Amazon bounty
3%.
is like 1% or something
Yeah.
like
One or
that. Yeah,
two. Yeah. Yeah.
so it's pretty small. Whereas what's the mag switch?
Max,
I
which is
think
like
they
50%, right?
yeah, so some companies are really generous, but then that's a little bit more of a niche thing. They only sell magnetic blocks, whereas Amazon sells literally everything.
Everything. Yeah. Yeah. So it can be
um,
lucrative.
yeah,
Um, there are some creators out there, I don't think we need to name any names, that literally make their entire channel out of affiliate links.
yes, and it's one of those
Every
things
video is a
where
top 5 tools video.
yeah, and it's one of those things where you can kind of gear your content towards it if you see that as a viable, I don't know, viable business or whatever. You can do top 5 tool videos and you can have links for all those tools. And yeah, I don't know, it is definitely a way that you can make money online. I haven't personally had a whole lot of success with it. It's always been like I don't know, maybe like 1 to 5% of what I make at most.
Yeah, mine's about the same. But it's
Yeah.
still like every drop in the bucket counts.
Well, that's true. That's true. And it's not really like for instance, what I do in my YouTube videos is I'll say something like, "Hey, I really like this tool. There's an affiliate link for it down in the video description, as well as all the other tools and materials I've used throughout it." And that's all I say. And it's like a nice, easy little plug. And
Right.
yeah, it does generate some income. So it's not a heavy lift on my part. If I were to push it harder and to make videos geared around it, maybe I would make more from it. Maybe it'd be a bigger portion of what I make.
Yeah.
If I could
Um,
add,
mhm.
whenever you're doing those affiliate links, you want to make sure that you're reading through all their requirements. Like
Yeah.
Amazon requires that you register each and every individual profile that you're selling links through with their
Oh,
website.
interesting.
And if you don't, then they'll, because my first Amazon affiliate, I got kicked off several times because I wasn't listing each social media with my handle. I was just listing
Oh.
Instagram.com, and you actually need to go on there and list Instagram.com/ your
Yeah.
username, like your page.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've heard
I
They
did
about
get
not
that.
know
they
that.
get very specific.
Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't run into that same issue, but I really only post links on my YouTube page, so maybe
Hmm.
I set it up correctly for that the first time.
Yeah.
Um, I wanted to ask you, Eric, have you had any success with affiliate links in any other realm other than YouTube? Have you made it work on Instagram or TikTok or anything? Yeah,
I
No.
neither
tried.
have I.
No, not at all.
I think
Not at all.
occasionally I've had a little bit of luck with Instagram stories. Like if I find some useful tool and I like do a thing on it, but again, it's only like you make like a couple bucks or something like that.
If
Like
that.
if that. So
Didn't they do away with links and stories too?
did they? I don't know. I haven't been on Instagram in months.
I don't know. I don't know. But oh, last question. We'll knock this out.
All right.
PHP designs. How much should go into your first YouTube video?
Everything.
That's hard. Are
Uh,
we talking how much
no,
money,
no.
how much time, how much effort?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, okay. Why don't we just do this? How long did the three of us spend on our first YouTube video?
Filming?
Way longer than I needed to.
Yeah. Yeah.
I probably spent like 6 hours worth of filming, probably
Okay.
4 to 5 hours of editing. And
hmm
remember, I don't know how to edit video.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
And
yeah.
then an hour or two trying to figure out how it went on YouTube. So I would say conservatively like 15 hours.
Okay. Okay. I think I probably a little bit more than that. I think I probably spent a good full day in the shop, so probably like 8, 9 hours
Okay.
doing a project. Probably 8 or 9 hours editing, and then maybe even like I don't know. And then let's say like another like 3 to 4 hours of miscellaneous stuff related to it,
Yeah.
making thumbnail, blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that first video is going to be a lot of people's first introduction to you. So that should really be kind of you introducing yourself through a smaller project, something you can knock out in a
Yeah.
day.
I actually think that's wrong.
Oh, okay.
And here's why. I understand what you're saying, and I thought that exact same thing too. So my first YouTube video has all this like, hey, I'm Zach, blah, 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 blah. I'm here, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Nobody cares, and
No.
nobody's going to
Oh,
chances
no, that's
are
not. Yeah, that's not what I
chances
mean.
okay, chances are your first YouTube video is gonna be bad, and nobody's gonna
Yeah.
see it. And then it's probably gonna be like 10th or your 12th YouTube video where most people actually end up getting an introduction to who you are.
Yeah.
Because think
I
about
mean, pick a project that reflects you,
sure,
something
sure,
small.
I see. But
Like concrete
I
coasters.
I probably watch a dozen YouTube channels on a pretty consistent basis. I have never once gone back and watched their first one.
Me
I'm
neither.
always
Oh,
just
okay.
like I see one in the algorithm and then like I follow from there. I may go back and like watch some other ones, but it's really rare for me to like go back and like actually watch their first video or any of their earlier content, to be honest.
If I catch somebody after they've been at it for a couple of years and that's my first introduction, I do like to go back and watch their first video and see
Oh,
where they came from and how much they've changed.
oh, that's cool.
Have
So
you watched my
when I
concrete coaster video?
Yeah, a while back, but yeah.
Oh,
oh,
God.
okay,
I'm
nice.
sorry.
So I will if I find a new creator and I see that they've been at it for a few years, I'm like, oh, I'm not watching those old videos because they're gonna suck, and I'm used to the new ones that are
Yeah.
better.
I get that. I get that.
Yeah,
Hmm. Well, this is fun. Answer some questions.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. We should do
this
that more.
ended up being a massively long main show, but
Mm-hmm,
I'm here for it.
mm-hmm.
So we are going to head over to the after show. We're going to dive into some other stuff. I'm excited for
Who
that.
knows?
Yeah. Who knows what we're going to dive into. If you guys want to join us over there, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/offthecup-podcast. Sign up for any tier level, and you get access to the after show and every after show we've ever done in the past. That's 96 previous episodes, which is, probably 50 to 60 hours worth of content, I would assume, right?
There's
97. Isn't
probably
it? Isn't
like,
there a zero?
Oh, you're
A
right.
zero?
oh my god, wow.
So 97. There's almost 100 other after shows you can listen to. And you can watch the one after show where Zach got so drunk that he couldn't end up posting the YouTube video. That's
right.
on Patreon
That's-
too.
That was about a year ago because I remember it was around Christmas.
It sure was. That was a good time.
Good times, good
Good
times.
time.
Oh, we should
But-
do that again.
Yeah. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. Thanks for understanding that the guest didn't work out. That individual will come back. Our thoughts go out to him with the family emergency. So, everybody, thanks again for listening. We will catch you next week.
We gotta
See
wait, hold
ya.
up real
What?
quick. We gotta name the episode.
Oh, I've
Oh, yeah.
got the one where they become snow bunnies, the one where they give up, and the one where they get tinned.
I like snow bunnies, but I think give up is better.
Give Up is better. I was gonna say the one where they collect bounties, but
Mm.
Ooh.
because of the affiliate marketing stuff.
How about the one where they finally give up?